What is up, Cowboys Nation? Mike Tag here. Of course, with my man G-Reg is in the house on Sundays. Even though the Cowboys play, we still got to do a Sunday show because we had such a great week. I mean, you don't want the party to stop. And then we got, Greg and I with the U, where our Canes look good. They dominated, for all you guys, dominated Pittsburgh, the same team that Notre Dame. They wanted common opponent. We smoked them. We smoked Notre Dame, so I don't want to hear no more Notre Dame talk. But how you doing, Greg? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm still here in Birmingham with my mother visiting. Had a great Thanksgiving. We had the most fantastic football week that we could have all season. Combine that with some turkey dressing and all the fixings. You can't ask for anything better than this, boy.
No, absolutely. It's been a wild 4 days, and it's been a little bit longer. Like I said, we're Miami guys, so you throw our Miami Hurricanes in there, and it's going to be interesting. And we were talking about it before we went on the air, and we're going to get into some Cowboys and some NFL and kind of where things are at. But we'd be remiss not to talk about college football. College football is now it's winding down. You got the championship game set. You've got the playoffs are right around the corner. We're going to see where teams fall. And then you got Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin looks like he's going to leave Ole Miss for LSU. Hard to blame him. I mean, LSU is a premier team in college football and in the SEC. There was talk of he wants to continue to coach and finish out the year. That was kind of a conversation. And I'll give you my opinion, but Greg, without me giving mine, I just want to see where your head's at with it. If you were Ole Miss, would you allow him to finish and stay in the office and stay on the sidelines, knowing that he's already accepted a job within the conference and their season is over, so their new season's going to be started? I mean, where would you be with that?
Well, kind of yes, because what we don't know or what kind of conversations he had with Ole Miss before he accepted the LSU job. Did he talk to them at some time and say, look, you're going to be the first to know I am taking the LSU job, blah, blah, blah. And maybe they even told him, say, look, we'll be willing to let you stay here and coach us through the playoffs if you get in there, or for a bowl game to let these guys finish out great. And it'll set a new precedent on how coaches leave teams instead of just leaving them high and dry at the end of the season when they got an opportunity to win a good bowl game or go to the playoffs because they accepted another team. So if I was at Ole Miss, I would say, hey, if he was respectful to me when he decided to make that decision and he gave me the first call and said this was what's going on, yes, I would offer him the opportunity to stay and go ahead and coach us out.
Yeah. They told him no. They told him to get the step.
So they upset. They upset. They upset.
I'm on the side of the cop. Now, here's what I would say. The years of coaches leaving, it would really upset me, because I'm like, you committed to these kids to 4 years and yada. You came in their house and you gave them the speech. And if a kid left, they have to sit, right? If a kid used to transfer, he'd have to sit and all this and that. So I was always on the side of the players, and I would think, hey, that's dirty the coaches. But in the new era of college football, it's free agency every year. The players leave and come and go. So I don't have a big issue with them leaving. But if I'm Ole Miss, it's like, dude, I can't have you. I can't have you on the sideline. I can't have you in our building because you're recruiting for LSU now. And you're talking to our kids, and are you talking to the best kids? And yeah, they're going to do it anyway. So I feel bad for the kids, and I feel bad for the university because they finally got a taste of success. They're going to be in the playoffs. I mean, it's going to be interesting. This is shades of Florida State, where they lose their quarterback, and how does the playoff things go? They could drop. Now, they won't drop out of the playoffs because they're 10-1, but they could drop. They could say, hey, is this as good of an Ole Miss team without Lane Kiffin? Drop them in some of the rankings to make them a lower seed in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see how much impact they put on Lane Kiffin leaving and not being on the sideline.
And it's a shame, too, because the record that they accumulated this year and getting in the playoffs, and then play in the playoffs where they got an opportunity to do some real big things without Lane Kiffin.
Yeah,
that's catastrophic. You take them all the way to the border, and then all of a sudden your main ingredient is gone. And now the chances that you had in there of even going to the championship game are probably dramatically reduced because of the leadership of Lane Kiffin that no other step-in coach can lead them to.
Yeah.
And then think about the morale of the players when they realize it and get in that first playoff game and they start getting down. The morale is going to suck. And these are young kids. And they won't sit back and think, well, I really got to pull this out. All they're going to think about is how this happened with Lane Kiffin, the fact that they had an opportunity to do some great things. Ole Miss fans will probably be upset with Lane for a while because this is the closest Ole Miss has come in decades to being so relevant that they could be one of the top teams in the SEC. And now they're going totally backwards because that not that many great coaches still left out there to fill this position that can carry the lantern. I don't see it.
No, I mean, the only good thing I would say with Ole Miss for this playoffs is Lane aligned himself with some top assistants, NFL guys, because his time with New England. So I believe Judge, who was on New England staff, he coached at the Giants and stuff. So he's probably going to be the interim guy. So at least he has some coaching experience in the NFL and being a head coach, not successful, but but at least he was a head coach and he was on Super Bowl teams with the Patriots, right? So, I mean, they at least have a pretty good staff that's staying on. They said they're going to stay. So I think that'll be okay for them. And the funniest thing, Greg, I went to Busch Gardens after the Miami game, went to Busch Gardens with my daughter came in town for college, my son and friends. We all went to Busch Gardens, and my son's like, man, we got to, the Cow game's going to be on, so we're going to have to kind of keep an eye on it. So I told him while we were in the car driving, he said, man, they got a new coach. They packed it in. They're going to, SMU's going to kill them. I said, the funny thing is, when there's a coaching change, the interim coach wins the next week. I mean, Penn State was winning. You saw, God damn it, the Gators. The Gators did it. All these teams won, and lo and behold, Cal ends up. I mean, they were killing. Yeah, they were up 31-14 to SMU in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
SMU comes back, takes the lead, and then Cal goes right down the field and scores a touchdown, and then SMU goes down the field, misses a game-winning field goal, 52-yarder, wasn't a chip shot, but. So that, you don't know sometimes the change or especially coaches leaving, not necessarily getting fired. But if you're a kid there, it's like now it's us against them. We're going to show the world that, hey, he's a great coach, but maybe it had something to do with us, maybe us. Yeah. So they could create that kind of us against them mentality. And there's a lot of talent on that team. So it's going to be interesting. But our man, Chris, I saw him in the chat, and he's a Canes guy as well. And he says he's got a funny feeling the Canes are going to get screwed. And I've been breaking everything down. And I will just say this when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes. The best case scenario for Miami is Duke winning the ACC championship, because I think that is going to force college football not to have an ACC champion be represented. And there's a way that can happen, because if they're not one of the top 5 conferences in the rankings, they can not have one. There's no law, there's no rule that says an ACC team champion has to be represented from any conference.
Right.
That would give Miami's the best team in the ACC. It's kind of screwy, this 4-team tiebreaker. They went against common opponents, and then winning percentage against the common opponents, or it was some screwball thing because it was 4 teams instead of taking the highest ranked ACC team to represent. That's what they decided to do. At large, I think, is going to be interesting, because if Georgia beats Alabama, that gives Alabama 3 losses.
Yes.
Alabama is in the same pool as Miami. That's going to drop them lower. So Miami could end up getting in just by sitting back. You got BYU and Texas Tech playing. So there some of these conference games, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think worst case scenario for Miami is Alabama winning and Virginia winning would be, I think that would do Miami in. And it's kind of irritating because Miami beat Notre Dame. You settle it on the field. Miami, common opponent. Everyone said, let's see what they do against Pitt. Miami beat Pitt worse than Notre Dame did. Miami beat either Stanford, one of those other teams.
Stanford.
They beat them worse or as bad as they did. So it's got to be settled on field. Otherwise, don't schedule these games. Miami, schedule cupcakes, play your ACC, and then just go have one loss or no losses and just guarantee your spot to be in the playoffs every year.
Yeah, and we talked before the show, and like I told you, man, I felt this way ever since the '70s with the Notre Dame situation, which permeated throughout the entire NCAA football. The NCAA committee is scandalous and corrupt. There's absolutely, positively no way, first of all, that Notre Dame should have been ranked above us in the playoff scenario because of the face-to-face that we beat them and the fact that we got the same record. And
Yeah.
not only were they above us, they were above us by almost a leap. And then you turn around and look at the common opponents that we beat and drugged, and they still got them where they are. And they're not in a conference. They will never get in a conference because they're cowards. Because if they get in a conference, they'll never be in a position they're in because there's too much more competition. They can
Yeah.
pick and choose the candy canes that they want to play, and every now and then sprinkle in one or two. Duke was irrelevant. You never saw Duke on TV this year. And then SMU, I was hoping that Cal beat him. I didn't get to see it because we were at some friend's house watching the game, the Bama game. But I was hoping that Cal beat SMU. And when you said that they did, now I'm sitting there saying, I don't see why in the world that the NCAA can't say, "Oh, there you go, put Miami in the ACC championship." Now Duke's gonna get drugged by
Yeah.
Virginia.
They already
They're
did
gonna
this
get
year. They already
they
did.
gonna get drugged by Virginia. That's not a money game to watch. The NCAA ain't gonna make nothing off of it. It's gonna look stupid and silly. I think behind closed doors, somebody was campaigning for all of that, pushing the right buttons with the NCAA people they know and got Duke in there on a favor, and they'll come up with a wild scenario to justify it. Miami's gonna be sitting out like this, looking at Notre Dame, who's in there, looking at the other teams that are in there. Miami just now not in there. And then you're going to hear the NCAA and these media analysts justify everything under the sun why Miami didn't make it in there. And it's going to be bull, straight
Yeah.
trash bull.
Yeah. It sucks. And I mean, you look at the Miami losses, they had a terrible performance, 4 interceptions, and they lose to a game-winning field goal to Louisville, right? I mean, it wasn't like they got smoked. And then SMU I was at that game. They didn't play their best, right? But it was some BS calls at the end that did them in, but they lost. I mean, they should have never been that close. So I always go back to you put yourself in this position because you could have got yourself out of it, and they didn't. They were heavy favorites against Louisville at home. That's the one that's inexcusable. SMU on the road, yeah, I mean, Lashley's familiar with Miami, coached there, so you knew that was going to be a funky game, and it ended up hurting them. But that's the problem. So, unfortunately they did, but Notre Dame put themselves in that position too by losing twice, and so did SMU lost 3 games. So there's no undefeated teams except for obviously Ohio State and Indiana. So unless you're undefeated and you're in a major conference, you got, there's only so much you can do, but all these teams have losses. So we'll see what happens. But it's going to be interesting. Next week, we'll really start to tell the story. I'm curious on this college football playoff, kind of where it's at now, and see where Miami is in the pecking order, but we'll figure it out. But let's talk some NFL and some Cowboys. And I mean, probably one of the best 4-day stretches that I can remember. Not so much of them winning, because I've seen them win Sunday and Thursday. That they've done that for for a little while now. But the teams they played, right? You talked about last year's Super Bowl champion, last year's Super Bowl runner-up. You had to play in a 4-game stretch, and they dominated both of them, really. Look at the numbers, look at everything with it. And in Dallas, the defense has been so great, and we'll talk about that. But looking at this stretch, and we said on the show, they got to win 2 or 3. I mean, I thought it was going to be these 2 games, to be honest with you. And I thought the Lions were probably going to have their way with us. But then you're watching the Lions against Green Bay, and you watch the Lions, the week before, and Gibbs is going to be the problem. I mean, if Dallas run defense, if their defense can kind of contain him the best they could, and I'm just saying the best they could.
Right.
They got a real shot. And then you're looking at Diggs is going to be back from everything I've read and everything they talked about. So now you're adding, and I know some people are like, oh, Diggs, dude, he's still a top-notch cornerback, and where do we need the most help on defense is at cornerback. So that just kind of gets you even stronger. So dare I say, what I thought would have been get 2 out of 3. I mean, the Cowboys legitimately have an opportunity to go up to Detroit and get them Lions. What do you think? Am I crazy?
Yep. First, before I answer that, let me give a shout out to Sonia and my boy Antonio Warren, Dallas Cowboy fans. Last night, Antonio invited us to his house to watch the Auburn Alabama game. They're Alabama fans. There was a bunch of Auburn fans there, but there were 3 Cowboy fans:
I like that.
Antonio, and Sonia. And I told them, I said, shout out to them because they're probably watching the show this morning. But Jahmyr Gibbs, when I think about the Lions, that's the thing that makes my head swell. Because as soon as I think about the Lions, I'm like, well, we can match up with the Lions. I said, oh, Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh, my goodness. It's not a matter of stopping Jahmyr Gibbs. It's a matter of trying to limit his big burst. Yeah. And if we can limit his big burst, we can have an opportunity to sling. Because as far as offenses, I think we match up. Now, they may not have Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That would be huge. And I don't like seeing guys get hurt, but I'll take that one that week, man.
Yeah, who's another huge component to the Lions offense. But I think we match up really well with the Lions, a la Jahmyr Gibbs, who is a speed demon. And I said in a couple of videos before, and y'all all heard it, I said, we're about to go on a run. We're going to beat Philadelphia. I knew we beat them because we were home.
Their offense is terrible.
And then the way we beat them by spotting them 21. I said Kansas City suspect. I said Minnesota suspect. I said Detroit suspect, and the Chargers are suspect. And they are suspect. They're right at that situation with the way we're playing now. We could win out. And with Philly losing like they did against Chicago,
they're collapsing to us. Collapses. We call their collapses started. Their collapses.
There's an opportunity here that will blow most people's mind if we went out and Philly loses again. So Detroit's game is going to be probably in this stretch one of the toughest in this last stretch because of who Detroit is, and they're at home. But if we can just kind of limit Jahmyr Gibbs' burst runs, we got a chance to light it up with our offense.
Yeah. And I go back, and I have to go back a few weeks where I said that Arizona game, it was so important that Dallas won because they're getting all their guys back. They would be a half a game out of the division had they handled their business. They put themselves in this spot. Running the table's tough. I mean, running the table is tough, but the Cowboys, the way their defense is playing, and the way their offense is playing, they could do it. I mean, they could definitely. There's no doubt that they can do it. And Philly, you kind of look at what they're up against. They're just imploding. I mean, that game against Chicago, you got the fans leaving, you got the fans booing. Their offense is inept. Their defense got absolutely shredded. You want to talk about shredded? They got shredded for over 250 yards of rushing. They are reeling, and they got to play the Chargers. Now the Chargers, they're on their kind of downward, they peaked early and they're just not as strong as they were. But the Chargers, they got to go all the way out. I'm pretty sure they got to go to the Chargers. Help me out in the chat if they do. I think they do, but I could be wrong. I thought they have to go to LA. Maybe I'm wrong, but the Chargers are going to be a problem for them. If they slip up against the Chargers, that's going to be a huge problem for them because I believe they have Buffalo. I believe they play Buffalo, and Buffalo's very desperate.
Yes.
And they're going to continue to be desperate. So they're going to be playing for something. And that's later in the year. You got Jaden Daniels potentially coming back. They got to play them twice, which I don't think Washington's very good. But shit, they lost to the Giants. I mean, they got run over by the Bears. They got, you know what I mean? They gave up a 21-point lead to us. I mean, they are reeling. The coach is feeling the pressure. The coordinator, they're ready to kind of, put him on get the pitchforks out for him. So I mean, it's the funniest thing on social media because the fan base is just absolutely unhinged. And I never would have thought, and I tweeted this out, and it ended up getting a lot of run, but I was being truthful. I never thought I would see two franchises become unhinged in a small stretch like Kansas City and Philadelphia. Kansas City is actually saying, well, the Cowboys, they got the calls. The refs were on their side. I'm thinking to myself, Kansas City's really talking about that? I mean, Kansas City's talking about that. And it's like they made stupid penalties. I mean, it was
They
right
did.
there. I mean, don't make stupid penalties. We talk about disciplined football, and that's what kills Dallas. Dallas has been playing disciplined football. And I'm telling you what, I don't mean to ramble because I want to give you an opportunity to jump in.
All
But
right.
where is the discipline change? And I'm just telling you, it's leadership. And
Mhm.
Quinnen Williams, the leadership he brings, people are like, oh, he was at the Jets. The Jets stink. No. He was in Alabama. He was with Nick Saban, probably one of the greatest college coaches of all time. They won national championships multiple times. And he knows the culture of winning. And you see the impact that he has on this defense and on this locker room and on this team. I mean, what say you? Am I crazy? What do we say?
No, you're exactly right. And we talked about this a while back. Remember I said, sometimes you bring in a player like that and it makes everybody look in the locker room and say, oh, man, I got to step my game up. It's like a string of lights. And all of a sudden they start flickering a little bit. And you got to find that one bulb that's not right. And then you replace that bulb and all of a sudden the rest of them light up. That's exactly what he did to that defense. They already had the potential. But when they brought in him with his leadership and alongside Clark, that made the rest of them realize, I got to step my game up. They brought in just two people that have already shown the rest of us that they mean business. And the rest of them stepped their games up substantially. Now you got a force to be reckoned with on that defensive line. And as far as Kansas City, the Chiefs can talk about calls and all of this. Well, what were your excuses for the 5 games they lost prior to us? Were those calls as well? Both teams were in the Super Bowl. Both teams are starting to implode. I said last year, Kansas City is starting to decline. You can't be on the throne all the time. And then now, with A.J. Brown sending warning shots to his own team, legitimate warning shots saying, this isn't going to make it if we go down the stretch. And they did not change or adjust to it. And I can only imagine what A.J. Brown is saying now. Cowboys right now, the way we play Kansas City.
A.J. Brown got his 10 catches and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he's got to be happy,
Yep.
right?
No, because he's happy, but the rest of the scenario for him didn't work out. But look, if we can beat the Kansas City Chiefs with Mahomes, because everybody knows when we play Kansas City, we're like, Mahomes. You already know it. Mahomes. Mahomes has some great plays in that game. But if we can beat Kansas City Chiefs with Mahomes, who else out there we can't go out there and beat? Mahomes is the most elusive, the most intelligent, the most dynamic quarterback out there that you don't want to face in the NFL. And we beat him. Yeah. And Philly lost at home to Chicago. We got a chance to do something that will blow everybody's mind in the NFC East when they wrote us off long time ago. And now, because of that unfortunate situation with Needham, and then we get Quinnen Williams, and then the Cowboys have this resurgence. Their minds are right. They're together. Shotty got those boys talking like they're all family. We got an opportunity right now to do something incredible that will blow every. If we go in here and finish out the rest of these games, I have no doubt everybody out there is going to be afraid of what we can do if we get in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I'm just telling you, and then you bring, we don't want to shortchange. If Diggs can play to the level that he's at, if he could play the level he was and his head's right, I mean, you've got a defense that was like the laughing stock that is turning into, they've had over the past 3 weeks, they've had the number 1 rush defense in the NFL. I mean, their defense has been playing very well. And I said this before, and I've talked about, with Eberflus, and, a lot of people wanted him gone. A lot of people, I said,
yeah,
I'm giving him incomplete until after the bye. They made these trades. Now let's see. He's actually got guys he could work with. Overshown's back. You get Logan Wilson, a true, leader in the middle linebacker. You've got obviously Quinnen Williams booking in. You get Clowney more. He's been getting better as a right. Now you get something going. You're getting your secondary back. Now let's see what Eberflus can do with this defense. And what has he done? Now, Philly is an asterisk because Philly's offense is absolutely atrocious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Barkley shot. I mean, they don't really have – their offensive line is a shell of what it was. So we dominated them. But I said, you know what? Kansas City's the one that's going to tell me. Kansas City, Detroit, that's the measuring stick for how good our defense, right? You went against schlubs like Raiders offense and the Eagles. That's pathetic. But now let's go against the Chiefs. And the Cowboys defense played phenomenal against the Chiefs. And people say, oh, well, no, the offense kind of put them in a bad spot. You had that early interception, so they turned that into a touchdown. But that defense stopped them over and over and over and over. And, I mean, that was great to see. Now you've got Detroit. And what are we afraid of, man? Stop the run. Stop the run.
Yeah, stop the run.
And if they can hold him, they just got to hold him, man. I mean, Gibbs is going to get his. He's like Barry Sanders. He's going to get that big run. But with Barry, what you had to do is you just had to minimize that because Barry was also going to get a lot of -1, -2, 1 or 2, whatever. And that's the only way you could beat Barry Sanders. But I'm telling you, with this defense, what do we talk about in the playoffs? What has been the Achilles heel for this Cowboys team for years? Can't stop the run.
Right.
You get in the playoffs and give up 200 yards plus to the Rams. You give 200 yards to the Packers. You give a bunch of yards to the Niners. You've got to be able to stop the run. The Cowboys are showing they can stop the run. And, oh, by the way, what do you got to do, too? You got to run the damn football. And Javonte Williams has been heaven sent. But I want to give a shout-out. I want to give some love to Malik Davis. Because what I love about this team, Greg, and definitely want your opinion on it, being a big fan as well. What excites me about this team is not the superstars, but when you see a Malik Davis, come in and he's been cut 5 times, 6 times, and you draft Jadon Blue and then he gets cut, and then Jadon Blue's not, and then he gets an opportunity. So he made the most of his opportunity. Look at Flournoy. Look, he's making the most of his opportunity. He's keeping Mingo on the sideline. I mean, and on defense, you're getting these guys as well. I mean, Stewart's been playing very well, coming in. So I love the silent guys, that second and third tier. You saw what God dang it, I always forget his name. The special teams kid that made that huge play. I mean,
not Siege, but I know you're talking about who got knocked down.
Clark. I had to think of it. Elijah Clark. So, I mean, you're getting these, and that's what you need because Pickens and CD and Dak, and I mean, they're going to be them, but you need that second level of guys, those blue-collar guys to step up, and that's what excites me the most about this team is that the blue-collar guys are really making plays. I mean, Turpin, we wanted his head, and Turpin made a huge plays, but that fumble when he was trailing behind Pickens and he scooped that up and saved it. I mean, just big plays, man. They're making big plays.
Yeah, he was at the ball. And look at Elijah Clark. Imagine the film room after that game when they showed Elijah Clark getting tumbled, pushed around, and he never gave up. And he wound up being the one to force the fumble. And then Siege gets in there and recovers. And he's the long snapper. And he's downfield making sure that he's going to be wherever the ball's at. That kind of stuff that those players are doing, the rest of the players look at that and say, man, I got no excuse. This guy got rolled, but he got rolled by the wingman going downfield and still didn't give up. And it put shivers down your back to see how he did that. And he was the one that caused the fumble. And sees the long snapper. He could have just laid back. He went down there and recovered it. And then Turpin coming in, following Pickens, just like your wingman, following him as a wingman, ball fumble. Turpin's on there, critical recovery that could have changed the course of the game. Everybody is on a level of motivation that I like McCarthy, but McCarthy's not that type of person to bring out that type of level of motivation and drive in players and desire to want to be their best. Shoddy is. And Eberflus has finally got the few weapons he needs to execute what he would have done when he was trying to scheme with a Parsons. Now that those holes are being plugged, Clowney, who people thought was washed up, I thought was washed up. Clowney's playing his game, showing his butt. Sam Williams is showing up and doing what he's got to do. And What's his I always get his name wrong. Diggy Zua.
Diggy
Diggy
Zero.
Zua
Yeah.
is stepping up and playing.
I just
Man,
say Osa.
Osa, man, this I'm telling you, it's like you get a burst of energy somewhere along the season, and you finally it clicks and you
Yeah.
wake up. And all everybody said was, we just want our defense just to play decent, just play average. They're playing a little above average right now, which is great. Now, like you said, bringing Diggs in. Diggs, the way we are now, if Diggs comes back, Diggs has got to come back knowing what he sees on that field and say, now I got to step in like them. Because Overshown in this last game, Overshown is back to Overshown. I
Yeah.
saw him chasing Mahomes on the one where Mahomes almost tripped up, and then he threw that long bomb, and that's what got them downfield where the guy was wide open in the middle. Overshown was the second guy behind him, almost getting to him, and he was going full speed. So Overshown is back the way he is mentally and physically. Now we just need Trayvon Diggs to come in. And if Trayvon Diggs comes back in and plays like the diva he is, that can seal what we need in the defensive backfield to help us, especially get through with Detroit.
Yeah, absolutely. Quinnen Williams is a difference. And give
A
shout out
difference maker.
to True Texan for the super chat. Appreciate it, brother. It's great to have some hope for the Cowboys again. I mean, that's it. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have said it better. I don't know where this is going to lie. Dallas dug themselves a pretty big hole. The problem with the NFC is you have a lot of teams that just keep winning. I mean, you've got, you really need San Francisco to kind of take a step back. I mean, it doesn't look like Chicago's taking a step back. Chicago is, like I said, they are the Washington Commanders of last year. So Cowboys, the path for them, I thought was a wild card, but with Philly kind of imploding the way they are, maybe it's the division is the best option for them. They're a game and a half out. This Monday night game, Philly's, playing the Chargers. We've got Detroit. If we beat Detroit Thursday, it's going to flip the script and put a lot of pressure on Philadelphia. They're going to feel the heat. And if they were to stumble against the Chargers, now now we got that, and now we got a race. I mean, we got a race now, but now you really do. So Cowboys are not out of the woods, self-inflicted. They did it to themselves, but the way they're playing, man, I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to watch. So definitely appreciate the super chat. And
Because
we're not
I
there
feel
yet. We're not there yet, but just a quick shout out too, man. We got over 400 of you guys. I know everyone's getting hyped with the playoffs, man. We love it. But if you get a minute, if you're new to the channel, and we got probably 180 new subscribers over the past week, Philly and Kansas City, thank you for that, because you brought some more inspiration to my Cowboy fans. Some people were kind of, we're moving on. We're going to get this thing going, but you guys did it. So if you're new to the channel, you're just checking us out, make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. It's right on the bottom, right below our lovely faces. You see that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. It does so much for the channel. It does so much for the videos. It spreads the word. It gets it out to other people. That's what started our traction too. We got some videos that got some good runs, so it gets in some eyes of some other people. So just wanted to say that real quick. If you guys can do your boy a little favor, and definitely appreciate it. So, talking about the defense, don't be the dead horse, but they had another solid performance. They're going to get tested against Detroit. I mean, Greg, you were very critical. I just want to see Greg today. Now you've had a chance. You're sitting back. You take a deep breath. And I know you were very critical of everything that happened in the beginning of the season with Parsons. And we don't want to say, well, if they would have done it sooner and done this, because there's no doubt, obviously. But seeing they got Quinnen Williams, seeing they got Clark, seeing they've got still another first-round pick, seeing they've got some cap relief, trading for George Pickens, making some of these moves, you feel a little bit better? I mean, did you see, now you see maybe the bigger picture of what they were hoping they would get by moving on a big salary and kind of be able to add 4 or 5 different pieces? Or are you still like, man, I don't know, man, I'm still kind of pissed about it? How are you today?
No, I feel a lot better now, because now I see the results of what transpired by getting those players. Quinnen Williams, I already knew when we got him, my head lit up, because I was like, wow, that is a Pro Bowl player. But prior to him, all we got was Clark. And I'm sitting there saying, okay, Clark's a good player, but you bring in Clark after Parsons, and what do you expect?
Yeah.
And then we had to wait a little while. Then we get Pickens, and then we get Quinn, and I'm like, okay, now that's a huge bonus pick. Then we get Logan Wilson. I said, well, Logan Wilson, that's a consistent linebacker right there. And I'm thinking, okay, now if only these guys can show the impact that I know they've shown on their teams. And it happened. And what it is not only did those guys show an impact, because alone they can't win, they were the light bulb that you put in that string that relit up all the rest of them. Because in any sport, and Mike, you played in some varsity sports like I have, and we not at those, I'm talking about at the hard level.
Yeah.
You know, when you bring in a premium player that you aware of and I'm aware of in our league, and they join us, no matter how good we are, that makes you go to a whole different level, because now you got a support coming in that's not just mediocre, top of the line. And when you do that, everybody's motivation level raises. And it's something about that bye week, considering everything that happened, that made these guys reflect and say, we're about to come out of here and be relevant again. And we got the pieces. Now let's, damn it, go out there and show it. And the Parsons issue, as far as I'm concerned, is a moot issue now.
Yeah.
I love Parsons, but I can't say, man, I wish we had Parsons still in there. I can't, because between Clark, between Quentin Williams, Logan Wilson, now seeing Sam Williams step up, Osa stepping up.
Yeah.
It's easy, overshown back. I'm like, and I see what Parsons is doing with Green Bay. He's doing good, but
that's why I tell me he's generational, man. That guy.
But yeah, but he was one player.
Yes.
Now we were able to get not one, several who collectively are playing almost on his level, but they're in different positions collectively. So having pieces of Parsons throughout that defensive line instead of one Parson is making a huge difference for us. We are now not just relevant, we're more than relevant. We're dangerous.
Yeah,
we are
absolutely.
Dangerous. We are dangerous. Can you believe in our remaining games, when they put the percentage of us winning those remaining games, they got the Giants a higher percentage to beat us. I don't know who in Vegas. They're trying to trip people up and getting them in the betting scheme so they can set them up and lose money.
My kid was in middle school or elementary school the last time the Giants beat us with Dak Prescott. But hey, just in the chat, I just want to jump in here with you guys, man. Appreciate again all the love, man. We got over 400 of you guys in here hanging with us now. Now we're rolling. Now we're rolling, man. This is a good Sunday morning. I love when people get up Sunday morning and love to talk some Cowboys football. But serious question from Frankie. Did Jerry pull a Herschel Walker-like deal with Micah, with Quinnen, Clark, Logan Wilson, an additional first-round pick? What I would say, Greg, you can chime in as well, not necessarily, because that trade, what they did was they took a lot of players. Mm-hmm. And there was a thing, there was a kind of an asterisk, a thing in there. If the players weren't on the Cowboys roster by the end of the year, then they turned into draft picks. So Jimmy Johnson knew, I'm going to just get rid of all those guys. The only guy they kept was Isaac Holt, to my memory. Yeah. And they got some draft, but so they ended up with so many draft. It was just a boatload of draft picks that gave them ammo to make more draft picks, right? Trade up and do the calculator. And then I joke with Eugene Lockhart. I mean, they traded him to New England for a first-round pick. So it was all around that time they ended up loading up with draft picks. But I would say easily the best trade Jerry's done since Herschel Walker. Was George Pickens.
Yes.
I mean, George Pickens, maybe Charles Haley too, but I don't want to dismiss Charles Haley. But seeing what George Pickens has done, and obviously the trade with Quinnen Williams, and the nice thing what they did was, I talked about, they kept their 26th first-round pick. They gave them 27, which I think is really critical because they need now. Like I saw in the chat, are the Cowboys going to make the playoffs? We hope so, and it's going to be fun to see what happens. But what they are really positioning themselves for is 26. I mean, their whole offense is going to be under contract. The offense you see today, unless they make changes voluntarily, they get rid of Steele and bring someone else in or something like that, everyone is under contract. And then you look at the defense. Pretty much everyone's under contract unless they make a change that they want to make. So the Cowboys have really set themselves up with a strong draft, get some more pieces on defense. The offense, I don't think you need to do anything except maybe right tackle. But they've set themselves up really well. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on the trade, comparing it to Herschel with the picks and everything that they got with Parsons?
No, that's not that kind of trade. That trade was a blockbuster trade. That trade was a trade that changed the dynamics in the NFL because long-standing, that little asterisk rule, no other team in the history of the NFL, at least since I was born, even knew about that asterisk. Jimmy Johnson did. It wasn't Jerry that knew. It was Jimmy Johnson. And Jimmy Johnson knew how to use that. And he used that perfectly with those players. Got rid of all of them except Ike Holt. Ike Holt from Birmingham. My brother and them grew up with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was one of my favorites. I like it.
And the way Jimmy used that and how it turned out made the Cowboys the dynasty that they were. This is not going to make us a dynasty. I'm gonna say this ain't even close to that, because that's a one in a lifetime generational phenomenon that occurred under Jimmy Johnson when he did that. But this is a great situation we're in. I said early in the season, I'm tired of talking about what trades and how draft picks we got for the next year. This is when we did the Parsons situation, because I want to win now. I'm tired. Yeah, we draft well, but I'm tired of us always talking about next year when we got all the draft picks. But through this, we were able to get players to make us so relevant that we're winning and winning well at the point to where we are right where we need to be in the NFL. And now the bonus, not the story, the bonus is that we still have first round draft picks for next year to enhance what we have and not really overhaul it. So with the keys that we need right now, I would say we need another linebacker. We definitely need to look at DBs, but it's not like we got to go shopping next year for a whole new category of people. And Pickens is one pick in the Dallas Cowboys history that I can say is probably one of the biggest, most effective, dynamic picks in a decade for the Cowboys, because Pickens, in all right, is receiver number one, period.
Yeah.
Not only how he catches, it's the ability to how he maneuvers once he catches it, how he lures people in to get pass interferences. He is a blockbuster person of what make that offense extremely powerful. It's like putting a brand new engine in that car that already had everything it needed. And now you got Lamb on the other side, who's just as great. But with Pickens alone, oh my goodness, man, that's something right there that's going to keep us relevant for a long time. Now, what I'm hoping that doesn't happen, and you know how I am about Janky JJ. I hope in the offseason, JJ doesn't try to pull Quentin Williams and Pickens off somewhere off in the darkness and say, hey, come talk to me without your agent so I can give you a used car deal. Because if he does that, and that'll be the only thing we all biting our nails for in the offseason until we find out those two are signed. If he does that, then we're right back to square one again. So Janky Jones got to do the right thing this time and make it, and do it early. Do it early. Yes. So all we got to focus on is who they're going to get in the draft.
And I would sign, I would not franchise Pickens. I would sign him just to keep keep the love there. And they can do it. They can do it because obviously it helped with Pickens. Quinnen's under contract, so he's under contract for a few more years. So they're good there. And you look at the salary cap and what they can maneuver with Dak and with CD, and they always move the money around. You can do it because, like I said, you've got like a 2-year window. You've got next year and the year after. So, you got, obviously this year's not done. So you got 3 years. You got 3 years to really kind of go all in and just really maximize what your guys are, because then the contracts start rolling on. Then you got Booker coming up, and then you got, you're going to have Guyton, which if he doesn't develop into a Pro Bowler, maybe you let him go. But you start getting these guys that are going to start coming up. Ezeraku, all these guys you draft, they're going to be coming up. So they're going to be wanting to get paid. So Overshown. I mean, so they've got this window now that they can really take advantage of the salary cap and the guys. And you can go, if they draft on deep, like I would take this draft and I would draft nothing but defense.
Yes, I agree.
Nothing but defense, because not only because they that's the area they needed the most, but you put your money on offense and you draft on defense and get depth. And the Cowboys are kind of showing it now. You got some guys. I mean, there's some people there that, I'll be honest, man, I think I'm a pretty big Cowboys fan. There's some guys I see on the defense on the team. I'm like, who is that again? I got to get my book out. Who is Stewart? Where did he come from? So, I mean, you get that scheme right, and you get some dogs in you, and you get depth. And you need, I mean, what Pickens has done, and I'm just saying it, CeeDee Lamb, we didn't really even talk about. What a great bounce back game. You knew that was going to happen. And a lot of people were giving him shit over the Philly game, rightfully so. I don't know if he was getting pressed in his head or whatever it is, but CeeDee Lamb showed you what he's all about. But I will say this: they're both great in their own way. But what Pickens does, he brings that explosiveness and just that grit, that kind of Michael Irvin style, that brashness. CeeDee Lamb is he's like an assassin, right? He's surgical. He just runs perfect routes, and he's very. Where Pickens is just toughness, and that run that he had, he leaped over again, and then he went around. I mean, he just does stuff after the catch that I don't think I've seen a receiver in a long time be able to, to do that. I mean, he is just, he's not Des Bryant. Des Bryant was bigger, a little different, but the way he can contort his body and the way he catches, and then what he does after, the vision and the instincts, there's not many players in the NFL today that have that.
No, and you said it, instincts. His instincts, once he catches the ball, he knows how these DBs, when you catch a ball in a certain area of field after a certain run, he knows typically the tackle is made. If you catch it on the slant, the tackle is made right at the slant. Or if you catch it on the side, the tackle is made right at. He knows where the tackle is typically made once the ball is caught at that level of the field. So he does stuff to change his body in the opposite direction, which is unexpected, which gets him more yards. Like when he caught that ball, and instead of going inside like most do, he knew the typical response to a receiver from a DB when you catch a ball like that is that he's going to automatically turn inside. He knows that, so his instincts tells him to do the opposite, because he's been watching DBs, and no DB is going to be smart enough thinking when he catches this, he's going to slant outside instead of inside. No, they're going to go with the normal flow that most receivers do. He switches and goes the other way. And then what made that run so even better, when he was taking off down the sideline, he saw the safety coming in. He did a stutter step just to take the safety off his step for a couple of seconds, which gave him another 10 yards to be, and then to leap over. Typically, a receiver would continue running, and then as they'll keep running and they'll collide. He did a little stutter step to buy him another 5 yards, because that stutter step that held that safety back just for that fraction gave him the big, and he accelerated when he did it. He accelerated, and then he got to the other safety, went up over the top. That's what Pickens bring. And Lamb is that smooth operator. He's that finesser, so and you need that, but he's consistent when he's catching, and he is dangerous. To have those bookends, oh my goodness, it's so great to watch when you're throwing it down to Pickens, because once he catch it, something's about to happen, and he typically doesn't fumble. It's very rare that he fumbles.
Yeah, I saw he needs a whole lot of the ball. He fumbled. I think Pickens has fumbled once in all year. That was the only one. I don't remember him ever fumbling. He's not a fumbler. I mean,
no, and he can accelerate.
And
once
you
he
would
gets the
think
ball.
that he would fumble more because how physical he is. And like,
Yes.
he fights where I screamed to receivers sometimes, man, just get down. Like,
Get down.
Dalton Schultz was the guy. He was just drove me nuts because he just wouldn't get down, and then he fumbled it. He fumbled it all the time. It would absolutely drive me insane. So you go back to the beginning of the Cowboys. Sure, you know, I'm in the 80s. I'm in the early 80s. You go back. So in my time, I watched the older Drew Pearson and a little bit younger Tony Hill, the changing of the guards between those two. And obviously Irvin and Harper they were complementing each other. But I got to say, I mean, could this be the best wide receiver duo in Cowboys history between CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens? Just the talent level of them?
It could. And when you say go back, I go way back to when Pearson and all them, just before they even came on the team. So, but you're right, as far as duo, because what Dallas was so great about back then, up until Michael Irvin and Harper, and that duo was great, but not like this one. Was Dallas always had the top-notch tight ends.
Yeah.
You'll have a Pearson, but you had one hell of a tight end that could play almost both roles. And that's what Dallas was so much of a finesse. You had Mike Ditka, and then after that, Billy Joe Dupree. And then you come up with the Novaceks and the Crosbys. And they really helped out as far as having that number one wide receiver because they were 2 and 1. And then later when Dallas got Mike.
Do we lose you? I don't want to talk over, but I think we lost him. We'll see for a minute. For a minute. Oh, you there? You back?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, go ahead.
That duo with Lamb and Pickens is the best wide receiver duo we've had in a long, long time because both of them are. It's like having almost. And Michael Irvin's on a whole different platform.
Yeah.
But kind of what I'm getting to is it's like having 2 Michael Irvins.
Yeah, it's 2-1. I mean, easy way. You got 2 1s where Alvin Harper really wasn't a 1.
No, he really wasn't a 1.
Tampa. He was the best complimentary 2 I think you could have.
Yes.
His style was different than Michael Irvin, so they really meshed well together and they fed off each other. To where this is like 2 legit 1s. I mean, they can go to another team and be a 1.
And if you think about it, Mike, I was thinking about this during that Kansas City game. And my brother Jim was over and we were watching. I said, Jim, if we got Pickens just a little bit early, he would fit that 88 club like a shoe.
Oh, yeah.
Like a shoe. Yeah. Pickens could be that next. Lamb's got it, and rightfully so. But Pickens would be the 88 club without a question.
Oh, 100%.
He would fit that 88 club. Yeah. So this is the best dynamic wide receiver duo we've had ever, to me, in my lifetime, because we've always had great receivers, but we had those great tight ends that were names that complemented that wide receiver. Because you can go way back, like I said, to Ditka, and come up, and every tight end you can name first name basis. Most teams you can't remember all their tight ends.
No,
all our teams, all ours had the greatest tight ends.
We've always had great tight ends. Another great super chat from Jet Lead 44. Appreciate it. The She-Girls lost. The She-Girls lost to the Cowboys. Is in the mind now, and it got them doubting themselves if they can win games to win the division or win enough to make the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see. The Cowboys, I mean, are back in the division hunt. I still, that half game just pisses me off. So that's going to be tough because Dallas would really have to be perfect. I could see the Eagles losing 1, easily 2, could snowball it even more, but their schedule kind of lightens up. I mean, the Bills and the Chargers are probably their 2 biggest tests because I just don't think the Commanders, even with the quarterback Daniels coming back, I don't know how that's going to work. But funny Michael Irvin story. So every now, I love trolling and going through TikTok and Instagram and stuff. So a buddy of mine sent me this Michael Irvin clip. and he was talking. This was years ago, but he was talking about retiring numbers, and does it bother him that they don't retire 88? You know, and he's like, hey, my name's in the Raptors, and I don't want my number ever to be retired because I'm going to live forever. Because every time someone wearing 88 drops a ball, the fans or the announcers say, yeah, Michael Irvin wouldn't have dropped that ball.
Yeah.
And anytime they make a big play, they can say, yeah, I remember when Michael Irvin made plays like that. Or, and so it was funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Whenever you see 88, whether it was Des Bryant after Michael Irvin, even Antonio Bryant, if you really, you dug into the past after Michael Irvin, or CeeDee Lamb, the first thought always comes to my mind, Michael Irvin, Michael Irvin, that clutch catch, man, Michael Irvin, he ain't dropping that. If they walk off the field, Michael Irvin would not tap that helmet and ask to come off the field under any circumstances. So I think he has a point there. I think he has a point that maybe these guys are missing it when Phil Simms didn't want to give his, unretire his number, or some of these players don't want to unretire their number. Maybe they're missing the point, man. It almost makes you live forever when you see that number out there still playing.
Yeah, there's another 88, and his name is skipping me right now.
The early 88.
Yeah, the early 88.
Yeah.
But he didn't become famous with it, but he wore 88 as well. Now, a lot of people wouldn't know his name is right on my tongue. I can't think of it. But he wore 88, but it was nowhere and this is way after Drew Pearson.
Yeah.
It was nowhere near the 88 club. Because I don't think the 88 club came about until Michael Irvin when they called it the 88 club. And
let me just step in. I want to get my man, because I 100% Drew Pearson was the OG 88. We all say it.
Yes.
If you caught me earlier, I grew up, so I'm more familiar with Michael. When Drew Pearson was kind of like at the end of his career when I started watching. So 88, Michael Irvin always comes to my mind. But believe me, I love Drew Pearson. Drew Pearson is an OG, and I think Drew Pearson. I think Greg, being a Drew Pearson era, probably, would throw Drew Pearson's in name, say, hey, Drew Pearson, he don't drop that ball, or hey, he catches it. So it just really depends on the era. My son, just to give you an example, my son didn't see Michael Irvin. So my son is Des Bryant. Des Bryant, 88. CeeDee Lamb, he ain't Des Bryant, or Des Bryant's gonna make that catch. So it all depends on the era that you're in. But the crust of it is the players. When you keep that number unretired and you have other people play it, you kind of still live in the memory of that fan.
Yes,
who's watching you, like would be me today. So
anyway. and just think of this, Mike. My whole time growing up, anytime we played football, whatever football team I was on, I always wore 88. I don't care what color our uniforms were, 88. Even in Air Force, Air Force, we didn't get to play unless you went overseas. You didn't play tackle. You played flag in the States. We had a team at Tyndall. We won 6 years in a row, the champion. But my number was 88. We had all black uniforms, white numbers, 88. I was always me. I always say, I'm Drew Pearson. I'm Drew Pearson.
Yeah.
I'm Pearson.
I was always 22. I was 22. I'm more.
Yeah, I was always Drew Pearson, because Drew Pearson, man, like I said, I watched it when he joined the team. I watched it when he joined the team. I watched all of his career, everything. Drew Pearson was the man. And that was the original 88. And now I'm so glad he finally got picked for the Hall of Fame, because it's well-deserved. And now you see him more often out in the circuit with the other 88s. Because those that don't know who Drew Pearson is, I would challenge them to go out and look at videos, because the Cowboys games are still out there. Look at videos, 88. You talking about a finesser. You talking about a game-changing receiver. Staubach and Drew Pearson were it. And he was money every time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I loved, and I think the tradition of that 88, I think it's such a cool thing that the Cowboys do with that. Hopefully it may, it puts a little pressure on those receivers, and they feel that, that they got to carry that legacy. The other thing too is, I was talking about it, watching the Thanksgiving Day game again with some family. Tony Dorsett's my guy, right? Tony
Yeah.
Dorsett he's probably the main reason I was a Cowboy fan. I saw the 33, and I just love Tony Dorsett. And seeing Javonte Williams wear 33, I don't have an issue with it. Like, I don't get hung up on, I can never wear that number. The only issue I had, and when I had Tony Dorsett's son on and we talked about it a lot, it's not like if Zeke wore 33 or you got a starting running back wearing 33, I could dig that. I mean, I can.
Mhm.
What I don't want is Nate Jones, our fifth corner, wearing 33.
Yeah.
I don't want Cheeto wearing 33 that he did and then he switched to. I don't want, like, if you're gonna wear 33, you're gonna be the running back. You're gonna be the lead dog, physical, talented running back. Javonte Williams has made 33 proud. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That his running style. I mean, talk about Javonte Williams and what he's meant, because we give the flowers to Pickens and we give the flowers to CD and Ferguson, but this offensive line, and I talked about this offensive line. People laughed at me, and I said, this offensive line is good. I'm telling you, they're young. They're good. And I didn't even think we needed to draft a lineman in the first round last year because I believed in the guys that we had. But Booker Booker went against Jones, and he went against Carter. And you didn't hear either one of their names. I mean, Dak Prescott didn't get touched by either one. Booker has been just getting better and better. And again, what I love with the Cowboys, they get their offensive line is a mentality. They get him from that, he came from Alabama, winning tradition. So Javonte Williams, a lot of people were skeptical of that one because of the injuries. And I said, man, I'm telling you, if this kid does what he did in North Carolina, he's 2 years removed from that injury. I watched him in North Carolina. I watched what he did to our Hurricanes. This kid is physical. He's got some burst, deceptive speed. I mean, talk about Javonte Williams and this offensive line this year.
Yep. And Javonte Williams, all of us thought that. We said, well, coming from Denver, he had those injuries. I don't know if he's going to be the antidote, but we needed somebody in a running back like Javonte Williams to open it up for everything else and the offensive line. And remember, I used to laugh. I said, Jerry likes the Tylers. He got the 3 Tylers. But that Tyler Booker, it wasn't a missing piece. It was the sealing piece to seal it. And you didn't hear anything about Chris Jones. And then Carter played this game with Philadelphia that he got kicked out of in the first one.
This was his revenge game. He was going to set the tone, he said.
And he didn't get any revenge. You didn't hear his name at all. Offensive line is doing what they got to do. Javonte Williams is doing what he needs to do as far as our running back scheme, which is beyond what we expect, what we thought we were going to get, but is exactly what we knew we needed. And then you got Malik Davis coming in there and doing what he's doing. I'm like, man, we deep. And the only thing is, where's Maffa? Haven't heard anything about Maffa. Where's Maffa?
I think they put him on the shelf for the year.
Imagine
he was on IR, and I just think, but I'd be curious to see how he does next year.
So imagine Maffa and Blue finally get to the place where they have the confidence to put them in, and we got Javonte, and then we got Malik. Man, the running back core is solid, solid. And Javonte, what I like about him is he's not going to let you take him down with 1 or 2 tackles. He's on a mission to prove I need to be here. And I'm going to show you who I know I am in spite of the injuries and everybody counting me out and trading me. I'm going to show you that I'm still that person, but I'm far more healthier now. And we're getting everything out of Javonte that we expect. And that is so dynamic on the offense because it opens up everything in the receiving core. So we got the 1-2 punch in a running back and wide receivers. And now Malik Davis stepping in there doing his thing. And look, Miles Sanders, he's still decent. But so between him, Miles Sanders, Malik, Javonte, Blue, Maffa, we got it. Yeah. We got what we need. We got what we need back there. So and the offensive line. So you're right. When we go to draft, I want it heavy on defense. Linebackers and corners or safety. That's what I want to see heavy on.
Oh, absolutely. Fresh King. And I, appreciate that comment because you 100%. And I said the interior of this offensive line, what they did with Cooper Beebe, Tyler Smith, and Booker, that, that is where the game is won. I mean, you really look at it, and that's where I gave the Eagles credit last year. You look at that interior defense of theirs, it destroyed Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl. And the Cowboys, like, who would ever have thought that the words would come out of my mouth that the strength of this defense is the interior line? Never would I've ever thought I'd ever say that. This year, probably not even next year. Quick questions, and then we'll get wrapped up that we see. Thoughts on Malik Davis? We talked about it earlier. I mean, I love it. His burst. I mean, he's a kid who's been hanging around, cut, brought up, practice squad. He gets that opportunity. He makes the most of his opportunity, and that's what it is. When you get the most of your opportunity and you got Jadon Blue sitting there, you say, you know what? I'm taking your spot. I'm not going to give up this spot. Good luck. And when I get the opportunity, I'm going to make the most of it. And that's what I really love. And just real quick before we wrap it up, man, 525 of you guys in the chat, over 200 and plus on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up, man. Get me to 200 likes. There's 200 of you. I should be 200 likes. Get in there. And then if you're on Twitter, we do love Twitter. Slide over to YouTube before the end of the day. Go over and hit that thumbs up on the video, man. Just go to YouTube, Cowboys Cave, and then we picked up 25 new subscribers just this morning, Greg. I mean, the channel is growing and growing, and it's really a big thanks to everyone in the chat, everyone who stays with the Cowboys Cave, man. We definitely appreciate all the love. We're going to watch some football stress-free. This is a stress-free Sunday because we had a victory Friday. We get to sit back. You hope some things happen. We hope the 49ers lose. Hopefully, look at those teams ahead of us and just try and get them to get some losses, make the life a little bit easier for us, because right now they're making the road very difficult with all these teams. Everyone keeps winning. It's just our luck. We finally get hot, and we could end up with 11 wins and have a hard time getting in the playoffs, man. It'd be crazy, but appreciate everything. But, Greg, want to give you any final words before we wrap it up, man?
Yeah, so all y'all out there, because being here in Birmingham, I ran into a lot of people, and they were like, Greg, I see you on TikTok. And then some of them saying, well, what's your page? It's Gregory Girard 146 on TikTok. And keep this in mind. It's like Jerry somehow is going back to the formula I used to always talk about getting the Great Wall of Dallas again. Because the Great Wall of Dallas was the offensive line that was so great, it allowed Aikman to be so successful and untouched. And our line now is looking like Great Wall of Dallas 2.0, because we are now putting that line up there. We need to give Dak all the time he needs. And Malik Davis, to me, is running like Sherman Williams used to run back in the day. And if we keep all this up right here, we're starting to create that formula we need to be relevant in a long time. It's so great to finally feel during this season that we are back relevant and now in the hunt and sitting right there to control our destiny that we thought early in the season there was no way. So I'm loving it. You guys stay energetic. Don't give up on our boys, because we got a chance to make a run.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. That's what I said. You just want – I don't know what's going to happen, but it feels good, because if you would have asked us, if you would have came to me against that in the Cardinals game, I was there and we had to sit through that shit. I was like, I'm done. Like, are we, how many games can we win? I mean, it was bad. It was bad football to watch. I feel great. I mean, it's still very, it's like, God, it's football. No, because Miami had just gone through. I had to sit a weekend where Miami lost their second game. The Cowboys looked bad then on Monday. I'm like, what am I doing with my football life, man? I still got so many more months to go. So I'm going to enjoy this ride. I don't know where it's going to take us, but I love what I see with this team. I love they're fighting for each other. Obviously, the Nealon tragedy, maybe there's some inspiration there. And if they that galvanizes them even more and lifts them up even more, then you know what? Then take that positive and make it happen. So I like your point, Greg. I'm just going to enjoy it week to week. It's one game at a time. Thursday, we need to go 1-0. And then we'll worry about next week. But that's the plan. But appreciate everybody, joining the chat. Joining the Cowboys Cave family, all the new people, all the veterans who've been here. We will be back on Monday. So those of you guys don't know, we do a Monday show. Jimmy D and I will be in there, and we talk, all sports. We talk primarily football, looking back at the weekend, but we'll talk some Cowboys to try and figure out, all right, let's look at this week. Where do the Cowboys sit now? Have they been able to jump or close the gap on anyone? So definitely check us out on Monday, and then Wednesday we're live as well. But as you can see, Sunday, Greg and I always are talking some Cowboys football in the morning for those who hadn't been out so late and that, can get up early with us and hang with us. So definitely appreciate all the love. Again, hit that thumbs up on your way out, please. Hit that thumbs up. It's right down below. Where's my hand? Right down below, below our beautiful faces. But have a great Sunday. Enjoy a stress-free Sunday, Cowboys Nation. Take care. We'll see you on Monday. See you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.
All right. I appreciate